Welcome back to another gadget report. Let's talk gadgets. And let's start again. Let's start our year, our month of February, with my usual review, my forecast for aviation in 2026. It's becoming a tradition of the channel. Every time on the beginning of the year, I do this, and then I revisit the video at the end of the year and see if I was right or not. So, for this video, I'm reading my notes. For this video, I had a look, I did my research, and I had a look at a few details, a little data from IATA, IATA, which is the authority for aviation, as you know. And I had a look at their website, and this is what they say for 2026. And then I'll give you my usual take. So, of course, we know the cost of living, the past 2 years have been very, very challenging. Cost of living has gone up. Rents, mortgages are a massive part of that. People are seriously struggling with their mortgages, with their rents. And seriously, it's really hard to keep a roof above our heads at the moment. And of course, the situation with the groceries that also have gone up massively. And overall, families are really, really doing it tough. It's been like that for 2 years, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem to show signs of slowing down for 2026. However, we have seen that the aviation sector has been performing and bouncing back after the pandemic. So that has been something that has been a steady development and a steady increase. So the aviation sector is still performing, is still growing, and things look good. So that is a bit of good news for this sector. People are traveling, even though prices are extremely high, and we know that they are extremely high, they're still very high, especially for those living in Australia. We know that. We know that too well, don't we? So what will 2026 bring for the aviation sector? So let's start with IATA. So according to IATA, the passenger growth will be slightly below 2025 figure of 5.7% increase to a slower 4.9 overall. So the market is going to have maybe a tiny little slowdown, and maybe that's because of all this inflation. The leading market will be Asia Pacific with 7.3%. IATA claims this sign of or this slight decrease is due to persistent supply constraints like labor shortages and limited aircraft availability. So there's been problems with the supply of aircraft and also some labor shortages, and that has been a factor worldwide, as we know. However, these factors keep the loading factors high, and as we have seen, and according to IATA's articles, and I'll put them both of them on the description so you can read them, they have been at a record high, as they say. It is forecast to reach 83.8% in 2026, the load factors. This is actually keeping profits very high because, of course, if you have, it's again, we have the demand, the demand and availability issue here again, the offer demand. So there's limited offer due to all these constraints, but there is high demand, which usually keep prices up and obviously lead to high loading factors, because if you have limited flights, the passengers that want to travel will have to accommodate the limited flights. So that means that all the flights available are more likely to be fully booked than if there was more flights available, more availability. That's why the loading factor is so high. And of course, the prices go high, leading to high profits for the airline. Not so good for the traveler, but very good for the airline, I would say. The prices, as I said, are still too high. IATA forecasts a profit of 41 billion US dollars for 2026, according to that article. So this is what IATA says for the aviation sector in 2026. Now, let's see what I say. So after looking at the numbers provided by IATA, I must say that this is consistent to what I have seen and what I've been saying for the past few years. The demand is there, but again, and as I was explaining before, the loading factor is high because there's still those constraints in terms of offer. For example, in Australia, one of those constraints are also the lack of competition. We have Qantas dominating the market, and that keeps the offerings limited, and that obviously lead to the monopoly or duopoly that we have at the moment, that dominance from Qantas, and prices are kept at a very, very high premium price, and demand kept high because people who want to travel either for business or for leisure are still there. They still want to travel. However, there's that limitation on offerings, and that, as I explained before, lead to that increase in prices. People do still want to travel, and for some markets, as I said, like Australia, the prices are extremely high. And we say, for example, in the international market, the prices are really high. But for the domestic market in Australia, it's really going crazy. And the fact that smaller airlines are unfortunately going down, like we've seen with Bonza, the situation with Rex, and all these factors increase the problem, I would say, because they will increase the dominance of Qantas Jetstar, so the Qantas group in the market, because at the moment, basically, we have Qantas Virgin, so Qantas Group, that will be Qantas and Jetstar, Qantas Virgin, and then we still have Rex operating a few flights, but we need more competition. I've seen that, I've said that in previous years, and if we had more competition, this would eventually improve the pricing, and of course it would improve the offerings as well. So that's what we need. We need more airlines to enter the international market. I made an invitation last year for the European airlines to start coming back to Australia and put flights, because we all love Europe, and a lot of Australians have European heritage, so they like to go back to Europe and visit families. So British Airways, increase your flights. Lufthansa, KLM, come on. We are welcoming you. Now, jokes aside, we need more competition. Maybe if European airlines started bringing back the flights, and if we had a more influx of flights, that would slightly improve the situation for the travelers, for the pricing. So I expect the prices to continue fairly high because, quite frankly, even though I would love it, there is no indication that that would be the case, or any European airline or any airline, even though some airlines are increasing the frequency, etc. I still think that won't be enough just yet. And of course, it will depend on inflation. If the interest rates, as it is predicted, may eventually rise again, things change, and people are already really on the edge. The interest rates are really at a high level, and as I said at the beginning of the video, people are really struggling. We are really doing it tough, especially here in Australia. If things go up again, of course, when you are in such a predicament, you start prioritizing things, and of course, your rent and your mortgage are going to be the first ones that in your priority, then your food, your children's education, and it's a fact that the traveling will be left at the bottom, because if you don't have money for all the other things, you are not going to go on a holiday. So I would say, I believe I agree with IATA's report, much so because they have all the data, more than I do. But I think that, again, it's a gamble, and it all depends on what the economy is going to do during this year, how interest rates are going to be, how inflation is going to be. If inflation starts coming down a little bit and the interest rates ease a bit, then people might have a little bit more wiggle room to travel. But again, that is like a cycle. If something comes down and people start traveling, here we go again. The inflation may come up again. So it is a little bit of a gamble at the moment. And even though I still think, because not everyone that travels, it's going to be for leisure. There's a lot of business people traveling, and that's a huge chunk of traveling as well. And of course, business travelers, they will continue to travel. They will need to continue to travel for several business reasons. The market that may suffer more, it's obviously the leisure market. But again, there's always a chunk of the leisure market that it's the top end of town, like we say, the high income earners that obviously can afford that. If you, for example, if you already have your mortgage paid, if you don't have a mortgage at all, you are not struggling that much with the situation with the interest rates, for example. So you have more wiggle room to spend your money. So it all depends on each person's personal factors and circumstances. But I would say it would still grow. Aviation will still grow. There will always be the need of people to travel. There will always be the need of that day, and airlines and planes and aviation. What I say, and I think IATA, I agree with what they say, is that it might be slightly slower because of all these external factors like inflation, interest rates, the cost of living, that is really keeping people on their toes. So let's see in December if this was right or not. for today. I hope you like this forecast. What do you think? What do you think? How is it in your part of the world? Let us know. Let us know what's your forecast. What do you expect for our gadgets in 2026? Are prices gonna keep going up? Are they eventually coming down? What is your forecast? I gave you mine. I'm waiting for yours. So leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Do you agree with what I said? Do you agree with what IATA has forecast? Let us know. And put a like on the video and subscribe the channel with a little click on the bell so you get a notification of a new gadget report every week. The channel has been growing. I'm very, very happy. I said that last year. But of course, if you put a like, if you share my videos, if you comment, it will help the channel massively. It's for free and it will help me grow and it will help YouTube to distribute my videos to more people and get this community of gadget lovers even bigger. So please click that like button and subscribe the channel. As you know, and as I was saying, next week I'll be back with another gadget report. So have a good week and thank you very much for watching and fasten your seatbelts. We are about to eat some turbulence.